Hey guys, it's Joe Fink once again with Hand Drawn Pressing, Addison, Texas. Doing it online one more time. Just trying to keep the creative monkey fed, so to speak, man, during this COVID thing. And we've been talking to a lot of partners that we have, everything from along the chains, the supply chain and making records. But today we're going to take a different look, and we're actually going to talk to an artist friend of ours. And he's on with us right now. His name's Brandon Callies. Brandon, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing all right.
Good to see you, dude. It's been a long time, but we haven't been in the same room together since South by last year, and so much has happened since then, my friend.
Just a little bit.
Everybody's lost their mind. The world's kind of gone crazy on us, man.
Oh man, absolutely, yeah.
Tell me how you're getting through. What are you up to? Are you being good? Are you staying in? Are you sheltered? Or are you the defiant one that's going out and coughing on people?
No, I am certainly not defiant.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Yeah. Staying home pretty much, and I mean the good thing is I mean without the music stuff not going on as much, it makes where you can create more music. But then I do art on the side too, so right. I'm able to doing that.
You know, and that's just it. I mean, even though shows have kind of stopped, I don't think the creative process has stopped for people. You know, we just have to find a different outlet. That's what we've done here. You know, tried to find a little way to fix our nervous energy. So we've started talking to friends and folks out there to see how they're making their way through all of this. So you tell us a little bit about Brandon, right? You're from up around this way, right? Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now you're in Austin. Give us a little background on Brandon.
Yeah, grew up in Greenville, Texas, which is 45 minutes east of Dallas.
Yeah.
Moved to Austin about 12 years ago, and kind of hit the ground running. Do the singer-songwriter thing for the most part, and then I play bass in a band called Heart of the City.
Dude.
And yeah, split my time between music and art, and that's pretty much my life.
But don't sell yourself short, though, man. I don't know if you actually have the key to the city, but you have a day, right? You have your own day in Austin. Am I right? Tell me about that, Brendan.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the mayor was drinking.
Really?
And,
maybe. Yeah. How did that come about, dude? That's pretty crazy.
I got a call from the mayor's office one day, and I assume. I mean, I've done a bunch of city events. The mayor had some speech, a big speech thing at the Austin Convention Center that he had me come open up for that. And so I think it's just kind of all those things made me a good candidate for it, I guess.
Wow. Have you ever thought of yourself being a good candidate for Brandon Callies Day in Austin, Texas?
Oh, man. In fact, I have to be reminded about it. I forget about it. And then on the day of, I'll get all these messages from random folks about Happy Callies Day.
What's your day? What's the date?
It's March 26th.
Nice, man. Well, did you celebrate in any way whatsoever this year, or just another day gone by?
It's another day gone by. And that was right when the world sort of stopped turning. Yeah. But the funny thing was, a buddy of mine bought me a Chris Gaines album. Do you remember Chris Gaines?
You bet your ass I remember Chris Gaines, buddy.
Yeah.
That's legit. That's some good stuff, right? You have that on vinyl?
No, not on vinyl. That would be even better. But
wouldn't it? Yeah.
You know, the first time I ever met this guy, he was telling me about how that Chris Gaines album is such an underrated.
It is.
Well, I mean, to me, I was one of the millions of people that just thought Garth Brooks had lost his mind.
Uh-huh.
You know, he made that project. And so he buys it for me for my day and basically signed it as if Chris Gaines was wishing me a happy Brandon Callies Day.
That's something to hold on to right there, man.
Yeah.
Not every day do you have your own day, and not every day does Chris Gaines, potentially fake wish you to have a good day of your day. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a cool story, man. That's pretty awesome. Do you like the record?
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's still terrible, but like I said, I thought he had kind of lost his mind, and then kind of going back and looking at it, you realized it was all just a big joke.
Yeah.
It was intentionally supposed to be funny. I think there was supposed to be a show or a movie that was going to accompany it.
Yeah, there was like a movie that was coming out, and what his record, and this is me knowing way too much about this, but yeah, his record was like the soundtrack, and they were going to release the soundtrack to a movie that had yet to be shot. but they were going to build the movie, the concept around this soundtrack album that was released way ahead of time.
I like the concept of it was supposed to be a guy, and the Chris Gaines album was like a greatest hits album. He was already famous, but he had been in some horrible car crash or something.
Yeah.
So he just said, "Make me look like Garth Brooks."
The soul patch. That's what did it, man.
Right. Yeah.
Not many people get away with the soul patch and can pull it off. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Chris Gaines got away with it, but he wasn't afraid to put it out there, man.
Well, it did not mess up Garth Brooks' career.
No, the guy's still got more money than you and I have, and will ever have. Oh man, hang on one second, guys.
All right.
And we're back. Nothing like technical difficulties to get you on track again, man. So we were talking before everything just stopped. Garth is fine. It's good to know that he's doing well, and happy we all are for him. So, Brandon, tell us, you got a project that you're working on now, man. It's a big deal. It's not quite done. You say or is music done? You're still working on artwork. What's going on?
Yeah, music's done. I've got the masters back and everything. Just trying to finish up. The album cover is finished, but the packaging is going to be, the vinyl packaging will be pretty extensive.
That's awesome. Tell us, I'm sure you don't want to let it all out of the bag, but what makes you want to go into more on the the marketing and the packaging side? Because I know as a record fan, like when I first got my first album that I ever really bought as a little kid, it was Styx Paradise Theater. That was my first record, right? And I remember more than anything, more than the songs on the record. I mean, Too Much Time on My Hands, that was my jam. But on the back, on the B side, they had this etch, and is like a laser cut, gargoyle kind of statues that went around the edge of the record. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, But what makes you want to put more into your records other than just a piece of playable wax?
To me, it's just the experience of, the first time, what was kind of magic to me about getting a vinyl as opposed to a CD was the interaction, I guess. Maybe the fact that you had to carve out sort of that time that you're dedicating, because midway through, you're going to look it over. If it's a double LP, you know what I mean?
You're
changing the record out twice. And so you're signing yourself up for this, to really be engaged with it and really listen. And so for me, I tend to use that time going through the packaging and reading everything that's there and looking at everything that's there. And so I've always liked bands and artists that took advantage of being able to paint the whole picture,
right?
And making the art something special, make it look like it sounds, and I think that's the time you really dive into it, is when you're listening to a record. I think that you really get engaged with the artwork.
So when you're creating like that, Brandon, just a little insight from an artist's point of view, are you thinking about how you're going to work that packaging into the songs that you're creating? Or is it just like, okay, songs are done, how are we going to put this all together? Or do you feel like they kind of go, you put them out there hand in hand, but sometimes they actually do connect and go together, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And the process is different every time. But sometimes I'll come up with an image first and music will kind of be tailored around that. But I think I started the process, at least the album cover process, I think about midway through. And the image sort of shaped a few of the songs, and the vinyl, specifically the version that's going to come out of the album on the vinyl will be different than the streaming.
Really? So like the track version, that's actually going to be only available on the vinyl?
Well, the tracks will be the same. There are a bunch of segues that
gotcha.
My buddy Paco,
yeah.
He helped do, and it just sort of, it almost plays as if it were one long song, and it kind of creates an atmosphere, and the atmosphere was sort of built off of the imagery.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's so you're really encouraging it to be taken in as one piece of music, rather than cutting it up and giving a little bit here and a little bit there. Although that's not the way albums are released anymore. People always push a single here and the single there. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. That's the way it works. But at the end of the game, you kind of want your album to be recognized as a whole piece, a finished product itself.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, actually, I think the Minutemen said it. They were talking about everything should be looked at as like a flyer for an ultimate thing. These are flyers for this thing. And the singles that we're putting out, I mean, it was never my intent, at least for this album, for singles to be sort of stand out. But the hope is from singles enough for people to invest their time in entire record and listening to the complete story,
And the fact that you do mention it as a story, you feel like you have something, that you're trying to convey a story, an image, an idea to some people just put it all together and it's, song after song and it doesn't really fit coherently together. Would you call this a concept record, or do you feel like it all flows along one centralized theme, or is it different than that?
It didn't start out that way. I think I wrote a few songs after, the bulk of the songs were written to sort of tie in, I think, a theme. 2018 was just not the best year for me, and it's where the bulk of these songs were written. And so I sort of created a loose concept around it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I just saying just those words that you spoke, that 2018 wasn't the best year for you. Would I be safe to think that this is a darker kind of imagery record, or is it a record of rebirth as Brandon's coming out to a new kind of guy after whatever 18 put you through? Yeah,
I mean, I think a little bit of both. There's some
nice.
There's some bummer stuff on there, but the bow that's tied on at the end is that everything's ultimately always all right. It's life.
You got to go through the crap that you're going through in order to get to where you want to be.
For sure. And I think I got a good record out of it. I'm really happy with it.
And that's some of the best stuff, man. I love troubled singer-songwriters that come out of a painful situation with just a great record behind it. You know what I mean? I mean, if I had to take every bump and bruise of that relationship or whatever experience it might have been, at least I can get something really good out of it on the other side. So that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of stuff like that, dude. I really am. So when do you think the record's going to be looking at a real release date? You said you had singles coming up soon, right?
Yeah. Again, it's tying in all the artwork because I just now, I think last week sort of decided that, I was going to pull the trigger on like the big concept. I had sort of different tiers of what I might do, but I think I wouldn't be happy with it unless it was exactly what it was supposed to be. So the idea is to roll out, I think, 4 singles and then have the album come out. So we were talking fall, but I'm not real sure. It really just, I think, depends on how long it takes for me to at least get the bulk of the artwork going.
Do you have any hesitation putting out new music during the time that we're going through right now?
That's the other factor.
I know, man. It's a valid question. I mean, there's a lot of artists that we've dealt with, things have changed because normally you spend this time, you create a record, and then you go out and you support the record, right? You do shows and you tour and you sell albums. And now that's just not the way things are going. And we don't know how those things are going to go again. So there's got to be a certain, uncertainty about releasing new music during a pandemic.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't have a big release party. You know?
And that's you can't even have South by. They shut that down for us again this year. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it really kind of sucks when everything that it is that you do is gathered around people gathering. It's all driven towards these common shared events. And now that's off limits for us for a while.
Yep.
So I have a 5-question thing that I do with everybody on these interviews, Brendan. And I don't give them ideas ahead of time because I just want them to go through it and figure it all out. But are you ready to play the 5-question game? Everybody gets these, man.
Let's go for it.
It's simple, all right? So it's not too hard. But you are going to have to make some choices. First, Brandon, what was your first record? Do you remember the first record that you bought and you took home and put on the table that was yours?
First record, man. Um, it might have been Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska. I started getting vinyl when I was in junior high.
Yeah.
I've gone like probably 2 or 3 of like owning that and it going somewhere, like a friend taking it or letting it out or whatever. But I think that might have been the kickoff, which is a great kickoff.
That's a solid start, man. That is a very solid start. All right, next one. Second question: dogs or cats? Which one do you go for?
Dogs.
Yeah, me too. Now, do you have dogs?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I dig them. And the right cat is great too. But
if you had to choose,
if I'm choosing a dog for sure.
Attaboy. Now, this is brought to you by our Crackpot engineering team. It's kind of a line in the sand, but we need to know where you stand, buddy. You got to pick one: Backstreet or NSYNC?
Man.
Yeah, they get mad if you don't pick one. You can say no. When I first started this, it was the Beatles or Stones, but they said that's too old man. We have to pick something cooler and hipper. So they came up with NSYNC or Backstreet. So
yeah, I'm gonna go Backstreet. That was one that I remember after like New Kids on the Block. When that came back.
You're not the only one that's brought up New Kids, my friend. Yeah, they were like the OG, I think. They kind of started it all out. But so vote for Backstreet. Mark that down, fellas. Vote for Backstreet. There we go. But we kind of touched on this, man. Where'd you grow up, Brendan?
Greenville, Texas.
What got you into music down there in Greenville? Were you part of the school program, or was it just around the house, or what was going on?
No, my parents, when I was growing up, had no interest at all outside of like Michael Jackson and Milli Vanilli.
Really?
And Billy Ocean. Those are the 3 cassette tapes that I remember them consistently playing.
Really?
But yeah, outside of that, they were never music people. And so it kind of took, when I hit, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade, a buddy of mine brought over, I believe it was a White Zombie tape, the Les Exorcisto, and I freaked out. And I think that it was off to the races.
Dude, isn't that so fun, man? And now every time you hear that record, you're 13, right?
Dude, yeah.
Every time. Yeah. Music's the only thing that can do that to you. You know what I mean? I can mark, and you talk about the stuff that went down in 2018 and how you wrote a record out of it, but I can mark every good time and every bad time in my life with a song, with some sort of soundtrack, and that's great and it's horrible all at the same time, so.
Yeah. Nostalgia is such a powerful thing. It can influence your decisions so much. I have as much love, I think, for that White Zombie record, which I think is a great record. I have as much love for that as probably Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
Nostalgia,
That's really cool, man. So, Brandon, what made you decide that this is what you're going to do? This is our 5th question. What made you decide that, hey, this is who I'm going to be, this is what this is all about? Can you give all that credit to the White Zombie cassette, or is there other things that had factors in there?
Man, yeah, I think so. That's what started it, and so I think I got to stick to that. That's what put me on that path. So my parents bought me a guitar for Christmas shortly after that, and off to the races.
So how do your folks feel about what you've done now? Obviously it's worked out well for you. You've created art. You're continuing to create art. What do they think?
They love it. They're at any they can be at. They live in Texarkana, so I'm rarely, in that area. But they love it. I think the initial was like, oh God,
right?
What is this guy doing? But once I got past that sort of trying to scream and play heavy metal, and there was more melody involved, I think this is fine.
It's amazing how all of our tastes mature. We start off and we want to play the thing that everyone else hates because we're like, oh, we have to be a part of that, But then after a while, you're like, oh, let's see if what we can turn this into, man. So yeah, the music that I was listening to when I was 13, I still go back there now and again, but it's a far stretch from what I've ended up listening to now as a grown up. So, or semi-grown up, I guess I should say.
The good thing is I'm happy to still bother my parents when they get in the truck and, put air that.
No doubt, man. So just real brief, man. What do you think this is going to look like when we get through, what's it going to be like going to shows? What's it going to be like from your view, from the stage? What do you expect? Any expectations?
I have no clue, no real expectations. I think it's going to change. I think capacities in venues will be smaller for a long time, until there's some sort of like definite vaccine or something more concrete figured out. But as long as it's this sort of looming evil, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think things will for a minute.
I think as much as people hate being home and hate being stuck and not able to go do what they want to do, I think that they're just as afraid of being a guinea pig, and going out and putting themselves or their loved ones and their family in danger. Right? Even if they were to open up the doors tomorrow and say, everything's cool, dude, you guys can go back. I don't think I would go back right away, man.
I would.
I don't feel good about it.
Life hadn't been bad. I've been kind of embracing it,
That's awesome, dude.
You to be home and, which it's a recharge of sorts. So,
well, hey man, hopefully we can all get together and enjoy a show and have a cold one and share some more shared experiences on the other side of this thing, man. Keep us posted on what you got going on, Brandon. I know we'll be working with you more in the future, but thanks for taking the time to hang out and chat with us today, man.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. We'll see you next time. Be good. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh, my bad, man. Guys, I totally spaced it, and I forgot all about the most important part of the show, and that is the puck of the week, all right? Here we go. Brandon, thanks for talking to me about that. That one is a cool kind of, I don't know, what do you call that? Is it like teal, seafoam, not quite? I mean, aquamarine. That's what they call it, the crayon box. But yeah, you put that on, and it comes out like these. It's really pretty nice, man. So, puck of the week. There you go.